Jeep Liberty years to avoid. Host and the Veil periodic comments below to let us know your own experience. Before Fiat took over the company, Jeep used to have great reputation for its engine stability and power performance. Before Fiat, Jeep was owned by Chrysler after 1999, and in which the Jeep Liberty 2004 is the first generation of this series, which still have solid strong engine from Chrysler breeds. Jeep Liberty is well known as the pioneer of off-road SUV vehicles. Yes, that kind of muddy, exciting, rocky off-road as you picture. So for the first generation Liberty 2004 to 2007, the overall performance is contrarily stable than other years' models because it still came from the Jeep pedigree originally. In today's video, we're going through common problems of Jeep Liberty first generation and Jeep Liberty years to avoid. Yes, let's see the why people love and hate about this legend car. We talked lots about Jeep Liberty used transmission 42 RLE in our last video. This 42 RLE is the transmission for Jeep 2005, Jeep 2007, and also other well-known car models like Wrangler and 300s. There are some common problems with this off-road iconic model, and here let's talk about them. Number 1. EGR removal. This EGR, the exhaust gas recirculation, plays an important role to recirculate the exhaust gas back into the engine combustion chamber. The diesel engine tends to emit heavier nitrogen oxide, so-called the NOx, which is harmful to humans. So with this function of EGR, we can control and decrease the NOx emissions in engines. If the EGR are stuck or polluted like the photo shows, it will affect its function and let air-fuel mixture get back to the combustion chamber. Our suggestion is to clean the electronic EGR valve and use computer cleaner to clean the hose and the valve periodically. Number 2. Transmission training problem. Once again, we'd like to mention the transmission problem, which in Jeep case is commonly known as the gear not shift out of the second. For Jeep case, this is especially happen because of the 4WD mode button gets stuck. So, here we got a handy hack to quick repair this situation, especially when you see the light on your dashboard, or when you feel the gears work not smoothly. First, switch the gear and stop it at the neutral. Second, push the 4WD driver mode and make sure it stops at the exact 4WD mode. Third, shut it off the engine. Fourth, restart the engine. Next, push the gear back to park and push back the 4WD mode with the engine is on. Last, shut the engine off again and restart it. The light should go off now. This is an easy method for you to repair the situation when 4WD mode button got stuck and influenced the gear function. 42 RLE transmission has some common problems which you can see in our last video. Now, back to our discussion about the common problems. Number 3. The valve block. Simply replace the transmission valve body for 42 RLE may sometimes save you fortune. Very often, the transmission problems come from the valve block value. If you can sort it out at the early stage, for this solenoid block packed, it may cost only $100 for the rebuilt one, and it can save you $100,000 to overhaul the whole transmission. Number 4. The lock of the power door. The electronic components age over time. The reason to cause this electronic power door lock problem is the actuator which controls the door lock function. This can be happening in any of Jeep Liberty used doors, and the blinding and latches may be the problem caused. If you heard any squeaking or grinding noise when you try to lock or unlock the door, this is the sign that something goes wrong with the door locks. Next, let's see the motor of power window. I know this is very obvious problem to sense when we use the window switch, but it fails to function properly. Very typical situation is the motor burned out with the power sent down there, but the regulator couldn't move because of some reasons. Example, the window glass gets frozen and stuck in the up position in a snowing day when you start the engine in the early morning. In this situation, the motor tries his hard as possible, but the window still doesn't move and then the motor burnt out. If so, the solution will be replacing the regulator motor or even the whole assembly. Last, the internal engine valve. There will be an engine light coming on or flashing on the dashboard when the engine valve goes wrong. Sometimes you may also feel the engine power is losing. These intact valves require replacement when you sense the above symptoms. So, these are the common problems for the first generation Jeep Liberty. When you are considering of Jeep Liberty used cars, remember to put these problems into your must-check list. Then you may be wondering why the Liberty, or should say the Jeep, still have that kind of charm to allure so many car owners to love her. How about you? Are you the Jeep lover or Jeep hater? Leave comments below to let us know your own experience. Next, let's see the charming features of the Liberty. Number 1. Parts cost and availability. There are lots of common parts for both Liberty 3.0 and 2.0 gasoline version. The parts are not expensive and the availability is plenty. From the exterior fender hood mirror to the engine mechanical parts inside the engine, even the transmission, you get what you need. This makes the maintenance and repairing super affordable and cool. Number 2. Diesel longevity. Truth is the diesel runs much longer than gasoline. This is definitely good for miles per gallon when you consider of any car purchase. Especially for the diesel fans, this is a feature beats many other cars. Meanwhile, you will be surprised this 4-cylinder 2.8 diesel engine has the excellent economic performance, which is around 30 miles per gallon. Number 3. Super Jeep community. Hey, you have to admit that the car owners of Jeep are super friendly and helpful. Many useful information and knowledgeable people are in the community and ready to support each other. No matter what problems you get, you can just go on Facebook to look for suggestions and solutions. Definitely a great bonus. No more worries for the maintenance service and car repairing. Number 4. The cargo space and 12-volt power charging in back. There is an adapter just right in the trunk to make the charging super easy, especially when you do the off-road trip. No matter you go camping or hiking, this adapter is truly cool for power charging. And speaking of the storage space, it has nearly 69 cubic feet with the seats down and 29 cubic feet when the seats are up, which is awesome and practical to fit to our outdoor journey demands. Number 5. 4x4 wheel drive capability. Apart from her off-road ability, this 4x4 wheel drive also enables us Liberty can run great even in the nasty snowing weather. The most reliable and capable vehicle you can trust under such awful weather. Number 6. Towing capability. You will be surprised at how big the towing power this 4-cylinder SUV has. This high towing capacity makes it more easy to move when it comes to off-road trip. Couple years ago, when I visited Brisbane, I saw many families have their vehicles towing the boat to the seashore when Friday coming. So pity the Jeep didn't export their Liberty 2000 hemisphere. I'm sure the Aussie people will love its towing capacity for sure. Overall speaking, I would still put Jeep in my first choice when considered of an off-road vehicle, as its features still make itself outstanding from the others. Just pay more attention on the symptoms and problems we mentioned earlier, and our Jeep can accompany us all the way. Alright my friend, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Remember to give thumbs up if you got any good ideas from our video. Your little gesture will be our greatest encouragement. See you very soon next time. Adios.